In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all of the steps for material application in Blender within the next 5 minutes. This includes how to preview your materials in the viewport, how to connect them to your objects, and even how to add image textures to those materials. So let's get started. To preview your materials in the 3D viewport, come up to the top corner and change the Viewport Shading method. By default, it will be selected as solid, but you can choose either the material preview to preview the materials and textures, or the rendered preview if you want to view the lighting conditions as well. For now, I suggest keeping things with material preview. The selected render engine is going to change how materials are going to be viewed in your scenes. To enable your render engines correctly, come to the Preferences panel, come down to System, and make sure your Cycles Render Devices is set to the appropriate option. In my case, I have it set to Optics with NVIDIA RTX 3080 as my chosen graphics card. When ready, close the Preferences panel, come over to the Properties panel, and where we have the Render Engine option underneath the Render tab, you can choose Eevee, Workbench or Cycles. Eevee primarily for speed, Cycles for realism. For now, we'll keep things on Eevee. To add a material to your model, go to the Material tab in the Properties panel. If you're using the default cube, you will already have a material generated. However, if you're using any other object, you will not have any materials. I'm going to remove this material by clicking on the minus button, and then I'm going to click the new button to add a new material. I can change the name of this material here. Left click once, and then name the material. I can also change various properties directly below. For example, I can change the base color. Here, I can change this to a red color, and you'll see it shown in the 3D viewport if you have the correct viewport shading method. You can assign multiple materials to a single model. Click on the plus button to add a new material slot. Create a new material for that slot and give it a name. For example, blue. In the 3D viewport, transition to edit mode for the chosen object, go into face select and select one or more faces. Then come over and select the appropriate material. I'm going to change the base color. 3 options will appear while in edit mode. The first option is Assign. Click the Assign option, and this will assign the selected material to the selected geometry, in this case the top face of our cube. UV maps are an important precursor for assigning textures to materials. Here we're going to create a very simple UV map. Go into edit mode for your chosen object. Then select the geometry that you want to create a scene with. We're going to choose these edges here. We're going to go Ctrl and E to bring up the edge menu and come down to where it says Mark Seam. This is going to create a seam along these edges, which will make it easier to create our material. We're also going to select the bottom face and also mark a seam, as well as the top face. This will make it very easy to map out a new texture on the material. We're going to select everything, press the U key to bring up the UV mapping menu, go Unwrap, and choose the option that we want. For this example, I'm just going to go with the traditional angle-based method. Now, if we go into the UV editing workspace, you'll see that we've created a UV map of the model. To assign a texture to your material, go to the Shading workspace. Make sure to bring up the Shader Editor, and from the principled BSDF shader, go to Base Color, click and drag, and release. This brings up a menu which allows you to add a new node. Type in IMA for image texture, Set to Color. This will connect an image texture node to the BSDF shader. Then select Open and locate your chosen texture. Make sure to choose the correct texture type, and then it will add that texture to the specific material. That covers the basics of creating a material and applying a texture to that material regardless of the object. If you want to learn more, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notifications bell icon for more updates and videos from this channel.